Hello everyone, I'm Captain7 and I'm welcoming you to the OPL Season 6 Low Tier Draft League. The fact that it's Season 6 doesn't really matter. This is the first season being uploaded to YouTube in full, at least for me. In case you don't know what a Draft League is, or what Low Tier is, I'll real quickly get that out of the way. Draft League is when you take a team of 11 Pokemon and you draft them like a sports draft. And then you take those 11 Pokemon, and each week you build a team of 6 that best pairs up against your opponent's team of 11 Pokemon, and then you battle it out. And at the end of the, in this case, 11 weeks, so we each battle each other once, the top, in this case 6 teams, are going to move on to playoffs, where they battle each other to see who is number 1. And playoffs is a single elimination tournament. And yeah, that's how that works. And then the winner is champion. And then low tier is basically vanilla Pokemon, except the best Pokemon, the top 2, and it's more or less the first 2 tiers are eliminated from the draft pool, and you pick from what's left. So stuff like Victini is going to be banned, and stuff like Shaymin right here, who's my first pick overall, is really good, whereas before he was mediocre at best. Anyways, this video is just a quick rundown of what I drafted and why I drafted it, and yeah. Next week, battles will begin, but let's start with Shaymin here. Now, Shaymin is actually a really great Pokemon in low tier because he has 100 stats all around, and 100 is kind of a high number to hit in low tier. There's not a lot of things that hit 100, and having 100 in everything means you're very versatile. And Shaymin's move pool is also very versatile. It can be special, it can be physical. Quick attack is not the best physical attack, but he has stuff like Seed Bomb and stuff. Is this going to show banned moves? Yeah. So the rules of this league are that you can use moves that have yet to be released for Pokemon. Like I could use Grassy Glide Shaymin, which is a thing that doesn't exist yet, but will if Shaymin is added to the game. But I can't use stuff like Hidden Power Shaymin, which are moves that used to exist but won't anymore. So they may show in the move pool, but I cannot use them. I think Signal Beam's also in here, and it's not. Anyway, Signal Beam's another remove move, and there's a bunch of them. But going back to Shaymin himself here, he can be physical, he can be special, with Seed Flare and Seed Bomb right here being 2 great examples, then Headbutt. He could also actually be a great support Pokemon with like Leech Seed and Synthesis, Substitute. Air Slash is a great move for the support set too, because you can just Leech Seed and flinch. Not that I have Serene Grace like Shaymin Sky, but still, 30% chance is 30% chance. Shaymin's great for a tier 1 pick. Grass type isn't awful. I mean, it's not the best, but it could be way worse. Like his move pool is extravagant. Yeah. I mean, there's some moves on here that could be useful, but probably not. Anyways, that's Shaymin. Good. Really good all around. My next pick was Galarian-Slowbro because he answers poison types, which Shaymin really doesn't like. There's obviously other types that Shaymin doesn't like, fire and flying and blah, blah, blah. There's a million types bug, but Slowbro answers poison, and I figured poison type would be something I've struggled with otherwise. If we go look at my ground type later, he's not the best offensive, but Slowbro is a great offensive Pokemon. You might think to run him defensively, like every other Slowbro, or every other Slowpoke evolution. But I don't think that Slowbro-Galar, Galarian-Slowbro, we've got to switch between the two forever, is a great defensive Pokemon. I think his typing is alright. He takes poison hits while grass hits. He takes some common types well, but like he's weak to ground. He's neutral against water now. He's neutral against psychic now. He's neutral against fire. Like a lot of common offensive types that he used to resist, he doesn't anymore. So I think Galarian-Slowbro shines a lot more as an offensive Pokemon. But I mean, Regenerator is a good ability no matter who you are. So he could be used defensively. He also can be used physically or specially, just like Shaymin. His physical move pool isn't that bad, and his signature move right here is physical or special. So he already has a good poison move. And then I think he gets Zen Headbutt. Yeah, so like he can be used physical or specially. Though I think special is going to be a lot more common just because he gets better special moves overall. But yeah, so he could be physical. Slowbro could be a surprise factor. Scrappy was my next pick, and Scrappy's here to cover Slowbro's weaknesses, because Slowbro covers Scrappy's weaknesses. So Scrappy's really good against Psychic and Ghost types, which are the only types that Slowbro is weak to, that Shaymin it doesn't do so well against. Dark and Ghost, excuse me, I think I said Psychic and Ghost. I also take care of Psychic types, but that's irrelevant. Scrappy's really good at taking care of that. Scrappy also has Intimidate, so he can take care of a lot of physical threats. Scrappy's another bulky Pokemon, another slow Pokemon. Slowbro and Scrappy are both fairly slow. Scrappy isn't the slowest thing in the world, but still. Now Scrappy is very much a physical Pokemon. He has a special move pool somewhat, but not really. But, I mean, he's really good at what he does. He gets Drain Punch, I think. Yeah, he gets Fake Out for priority and Dragon Dance. Yeah. He might get other moves through the DLC that I'm not thinking of right here. I mean, this is a great move pool. Scrappy, like I said, covers Slowbro, which is the main reason I drafted him. So Scrappy and Slowbro are a huge threat together. You can switch in and Intimidate a ground type, and then the ground type really can't touch you. So yeah, Scrappy's a really good pick overall, I think. It synergizes with my team. Next pick was Togetic. I'm never running Hustle. But I needed a Fairy type, and there aren't many Fairy types in low tier. So Togetic was one of the best. 2, he answers a couple of Shaymin's weaknesses, like Bug. Basically Bug. Which isn't great, but whatever. I have a pick for Shaymin's weakness, it's coming up very soon. But Togetic is extremely bulky with Eviolite. And like I said, one of the few Fairy types that were left and not counterintuitive to typings I would have in my team later, being Flying and Fairy. Like, he's extremely bulky. He has some Ring Gray, so he can do like flinch shenanigans and whatever. He's like a mini Togekiss, so anything Togekiss can do, he can do slightly worse. He might be more bulky overall, but not really worth it. But yeah, so he's just here for Fairy typing and the bulk. Next up is Carkol, which may seem like a weird pick, but Carkol, I think, might be one of the most important picks on my team. Being Rock and Fire type, he resists almost every single one of Shaymin's weaknesses. So he's just a great pairing with Shaymin. You switch between the two because they counter each other's weaknesses for the most part. And what Carkol also does is make my opponent really scared to run Fire-type Pokemon or Fire-type moves because of Steam Engine. If Carkol gets hit with a Fire-type move and his speed gets raised 6 stages, he can put in serious work. He's not the most offensively strong Pokemon in the world, having base 60 attacks, but with plus 6 speed, I don't really care. I just click a move and it does damage, and I probably live whatever my opponent goes for. He has an interesting move pool, physically and specially, with like Scorching Sands, which would be cool, and he's a good support move pool with Spikes and Stealth Rock. Will-O-Wisp. He honestly is more of a support mon, but it's just the fear that the prepping my opponent has to do for Carkol, the way it forces them to be careful not to use Fire-type moves willy-nilly, is really valuable. Now, at this point, I actually had room for another Tier 2, so you might be wondering why I didn't pick up Colossal. And it's because I didn't value Colossal additional attack as much as I valued the other Tier 2 I'm going to pick for different reasons. And also, Carkol is slightly faster, so I might be able to do more with Steam Engine. So yeah. My next pick, as I was saying like seconds ago, was my other Tier 2, which is Reunigress. And this thing is mainly a Trick Room mon, because if you haven't noticed, a lot of my team is very slow. And I fixed that later with a couple other fast mons, but I needed an option in case I couldn't bring those fast mons, and that is Trick Room. Slowbro gets Trick Room as well, but like I said, Slowbro is more of an offensive mon, so spending a turn using Trick Room did not seem like a great idea. Whereas Rune here is just a defensive monster. He just clicks Trick Room whenever he wants, gets one off, and then could like Will-O-Wisp or whatever. He gets Body Press, which is great with his, 145 defense. It also scares Dark types out. He's not a special attacker, he's actually a physical attacker. But he can use Destiny Bond, which is useful sometimes. I know he gets Trick Room. Yeah, there's Trick Room. Trick, so I can do some trick shenanigans. Toxic Spikes, more hazards. That's the other reason I wanted Carkol. My team has a lot of good hazards, and I wanted a Rapid Spinner, which Carkol is. Taunt, subs. Like, he just gets a bunch of great support moves. He can do something with his physical attack stat, but that's not really what he's here for. This guy is just going to be amazing. Ally switch, that doesn't matter. It's the singles. Power split and power swap are just shenanigans. But they could come in handy. Wonder Room, again, could come in handy. Probably won't. But yeah, so Rune here is just for Trick Room. But he's a great mon otherwise, and I can see myself putting in a lot of work with him. Click the next thing. Hold on. I think I gotta go like this. The next Pokemon I pick up was Masquerade, who is my other speed control answer, as it gets webs, sticky webs to be exact, which will lower my opponent's speed by 1 if they're grounded, which is just great, because I do pick up a lot of faster Pokemon, so sticky webs is really useful, especially with Shaymin. Shaymin has 100 base speed. If I go at max speed Shaymin, I don't think there's any Pokemon other than Aerodactyl, which I can think of right now, that will outspeed me with webs up. Just because of how high 100 base speed is for this tiering. Masquerade, like I said, is here for webs, but it has a special attacking move pool. It has Quiver Dance. It gets Stun Spore. I mean, it can do stuff. Tailwind. Tailwind's almost useless in singles, but like it can do other stuff. But it's just mainly here for webs. Air Slash is always annoying. Defog, because I need one of those. So it has a Hydro Pump. It gets weird. Oh, it gets ground. It gets Water Stab because of Skirsit or whatever, Surskit. So yeah, I mean it has a move pool, but again, it's mostly here just for webs and Intimidate. Speaking of Intimidate, once again, I got 3 Intimidate mods. Stantler is my next mod. Now Stantler is a mod you may overlook at first, being just a normal type, a bad normal type. First off, his stats aren't half bad. They're not amazing. 85 speed. Like I said, he gets Intimidate. But Stantler, Frisk, all 3 abilities actually can be useful. Sap Sipper not so much, but like Frisk and Intimidate are very useful abilities. But the real reason I wanted Stantler is he has an insane move pool. He can go physical or special, as his physical and special attack aren't too far apart. And he has amazing moves for both Energy Ball, Earthquake, Hidden Powers don't exist. Jump Kick doesn't exist. I figured that out week 1. Psychic, Shadow Ball. You know, Sucker Punch is great because a lot of things probably will outspeed him in this. There's a decent amount of base 100 Pokemon, to be honest, but he gets Trick Room himself. Thunder Wave, a lot of Pokemon get. Like, his move pool is insane. He gets Hypnosis if I want to mess around with that. Does he get? He gets Gravity, which, if you don't know, the way Gravity works is it just insanely raises the accuracy of grounded Pokemon. No, it grounds all Pokemon, so it raises the accuracy of everything by a crazy amount. So Gravity Hypnosis is a combo I could use that's interesting, to say the least. It's not very good because it takes 2 turns and it's just for us. I mean, just to put him on to sleep, but you know, it could be used. He gets Body Slam for normal stab. He gets Wild Charge, which is weird. Like, he just gets a lot of weird moves that you wouldn't expect that actually can turn out to be pretty good on him. Like I said, he gets Intimidate too, which is nice. I just think this mod's very unexpectedly good. If I wanted to pick it up, it has 85 speed, like I said, which is decent. So I just want to try it out. I think it's going to be pretty good. The next mon I pick up is Zebstrika. I need an electric type still. When it comes to draft, there's a couple types I really value on a team. Psychic, Dark, and then Electric and Ground. Psychic, because it has one, it's really good, and like Dark type is the only type that really challenges it. Like, it sure Ghost types do, but whatever. And then Dark type to stop Psychic types because they're really good. And then Electric and Ground for the same reason. Electric has 1 immunity in Ground and 1 resistance in Grass, but like Grass types don't really care, or you don't really care about Grass types generally. And then Ground because it's the only thing that really stops an Electric type. Speaking of Fire types, the reason I thought of Zebstrika in particular is because it has not Fire Radiance. It has decent Fire type moves. Flame Charge, Overheat. It's a special attacker too, right? Yeah, it can be. It has like a fire moves, so it can deal with Grass types. Hidden Powers are illegal, like I said. But it's also fast. Being base 116 is actually one of the few Pokemon over base 100 in the tier, so it does help me with my speed problem. It's also immune to electric type moves and grass type moves with Sap Sipper. I mean, these two are the more useful abilities. If I don't bring Rune for whatever reason, this could be an electric immunity. It could come in handy. Like I said, I think Lightning Rod boosts the special attack. Yeah, so that's how you run a special move pool with Lightning Rod. It gets Discharge, it gets Wild Charge, it gets Volt Switch. It's kind of limited in what it can do. It's fairly one-dimensional, but it's pretty good at that one dimension, so I'm not really worried about it. Zebstrika is a Pokemon I can see myself swapping out later on for a different electric type. For now, I'm kind of excited to test it out, see how it works. Next up is Dragonair. Dragonair, much like Togetic, is drafted just because I need a Dragon type. It's pretty bulky with Eviolite. It's not bad, but it's just here for its Dragon typing. It gets Marvel Skill, I think, yeah. So that also increases its bulk. And it may even get a healing move. I don't think so, though. It gets Rest, but other than that. Yeah, so I can run like Eviolite, Rest, Sleep Talk shenanigans, but then the knockoff will weaken it. It gets Aqua Jet. It's kind of slower. 70's not bad. But it is kind of on the slower end. It gets Draco Meteor, Extreme Speed. It gets a lot of stuff Dragonite gets. It just doesn't have the flying type or the stats. It's not bad, but it's not great. It was a tier 5. It was a Dragon type. That's what I needed. Now my final pick is a little interesting. I picked up Fukumuku, who's actually a tier 3 in this league. But hear me out here. First off, it has insane defenses in 5 speed. And I have a Trick Room team, so I don't really care about low speed. I can Trick Room, and then it has insane speed. But even though it doesn't have any offensive moves, this thing is a threat. It can Toxic and Gestalt everything. And I mean everything, because it gets Soak. So even your Steel types aren't safe. Of course, if your opponent hits it with enough power, it will die. It's setup fodder, but it gets unaware. So you're not really as worried about setup. But it is setup fodder. It's Pain Split. But if used right, I think this thing is one of the most dangerous Pokemon on my team. Because you just set up a sub, you take hits for days, and you Toxic and you wait. It's not the most exciting strategy. It's just Toxic stalling. But it is a good one. They get Venom Drench, which is useful for just weakening Pokemon. I mean, they could switch out, but then they're switching out, you know? It gets Bestow. Holy crap. You could knock off something and then give Fukumuku a Toxic Orb and then bestow the Toxic Orb. I mean, you might as well just run Trick, but do you get Trick? Do you get Switcheroo? No. Yeah, so see, like, that's your best bet. I almost will never do that, but I could. It gets Block to complete the Toxic Stall. It's not awful. It's just, if it's the last thing alive, it's gonna be a while before the battle's over. I'll just say that. This thing is the other Pokemon on my team that I could really see myself trading off later on, just because it is very experimental. It's probably not great. It has 5 speed. So yeah, if I were to trade off anything on this team right now, it'd probably be Zebstrika and Fukumuku. But I want to try them for a couple of weeks at least, to see if I like them. And we'll see. I really am happy with my team overall though. Shaymin is awesome. I think Shaymin's one of the best tier 1s in the whole league. Slowbro is alright. It's alright. I like it. I think Galarian-Slowbro is the worst Slowbro, or the worst Slowpoke evolution of the 3. But I am down to give it a chance. It seems alright. Like I said, it's an offensive threat. But it's not nearly as offensive as the other Slowbros. Slowpoke evolutions. One day I'll get that down. So yeah. But anyways, this is my team. Tell me what you think down below. Like I said, next week will be the first battle, next Sunday. And then Saturday is going to be the team builder, which I record live. I just record myself building my team, go through my thought process with you so you can see what I'm thinking. Then the next day I put that team into practice in the battle and we'd see how well it does. So yeah, stay tuned for more. I've been Kevin7, host of the New York Cramorants, coach of the New York Cramorants for the OPL and I'll see you later. Goodbye.